What's going on YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, and today I'm going to be bringing you some Heroes of the Storm gameplay. Specifically, I want to focus this video on one of my favorite support characters, Uther the Lightbringer. Now, in case you're not aware of Uther's background, he comes to us from the Warcraft franchise. He is the first paladin and the founder of the Order of the Silver Hand. He's a faithful servant of the light, and he's credited for dispensing justice with his giant hammer. What I like about Uther's lore is that he's such a noble and prestigious guy, and he's really a leader. And that's what makes it so interesting, him being a support character, because typically you would expect to see support in the back. But Uther does best when he's up towards the front of battle, leading his fellow heroes into battle. And I think that's what makes him such a unique character. Uther, unlike the other support characters, whether it be Malfurion or Lily or Brightwing, he's not as squishy. That doesn't mean he could just tank solo on his own. He will get picked off easily and die easily if he is not with a group of people. But he can take a little more of a punch than the other ones can because he's got a little nicer health pool. A lot of his abilities actually cue off his ability to attack, which makes him an interesting healer, and that's why I think he's so unique in his role in the battle. Now, ironically, he actually works best with characters that, from his lore, he would never be associated with, whether it be Arthas, the Lich King, the guy that actually kills him in World of Warcraft, or Stitches, one of the Scourge, which the Order of Light is, or the Order of the Silver Hand is violently against, trying to fight back the undead. Or even if it's Diablo, which is the, embodiment of all evil. You wouldn't see Uther getting a drink with these guys at the bar. But as the joy of the Nexus, and anything can happen here, Uther works best when paired with those heroes. He's got quite a set of abilities, and that's what I'm going to dive into now, so everyone's aware of his core set of his tools that he has before I even get into any of his specific builds and how I specifically play him. By default, he has a trait called Eternal Devotion. What Eternal Devotion does is when he dies, he gets 10 seconds of invulnerability. He actually turns into this being of light. He almost looks like a light angel, of like gold almost. And for 10 seconds, he is invulnerable. He cannot be hurt because he's practically dead at this point. The trade-off is, even though you can still use all your abilities in your basic attacks, everything is reduced by 50%, healing and damage. So those big bang heal spells aren't going to be quite as effective, and his damage won't be as strong as it was before. But because he's dead, he can walk through things basically in no clipping. And that allows him to break through enemy lines and, as necessary, interrupt certain people's ultimate abilities that are going on unchecked in the back. And when you think of like Nazebo, and when he gets his ultimate and that spirit thing just wrecks people, if you're Uther, you can run in there and interrupt it. If Malfurion is using his healing aura, or Lily's using her healing, or the 1,000 jugs or whatever it's called, you can run through and interrupt that. So before you throw your mouse in the air and say, this game sucks when Uther dies, wait 10 seconds, then throw your mouse in the air. Because you're still going to have a little bit of time to go out and make some sort of impact in the battlefield. It's enough to get one more heal in or that one more strike that just may tip the balance in your team's favor. So that's just automatic. His other abilities include Holy Light, which is by default mapped to Q. It costs 90 mana, it's got a 12-second cooldown, and it'll heal an ally for 194 plus 44 per level health. It's not the best healing spell in the game compared to other healers in terms of just a single blast, but it's pretty effective. The other abilities he has is called Holy Radiance. That's by default bound to debut. That's 65 mana, but with a cooldown of 12 seconds. What makes this ability so cool is that it shoots a beam of light, and if it hits a friendly, it heals them for 100 plus 20 per level. If it hits a foe, it damages them for 65 plus 15 per level. If everyone was in a complete line and you could shoot it long enough, you could heal, hurt, heal, hurt, heal, hurt. So what makes this thing so great is you just pick the biggest pack of crap going on during these big ginormous team fights and just throw this spell out there. You'll heal your friends, you'll hurt your foes. It's really, really unique spell, and it works really well. Does it do healing the best? No. Does it do damage the best? No. But the fact that it can do both at once is great. The other ability that he has is by default bound to E, and that's the Hammer of Justice. That's 40 mana with an 8-second cooldown that does 48 plus 8 per level damage, but more importantly, it stuns your target for 1 second. Now, you're probably thinking, 1 second? What am I going to do in 1 second? Well, it's enough to interrupt. That's the big thing. Someone hitting their ultimate? Not anymore. Somebody mounted on their horse? Not anymore. Somebody running away? You could stun them, which just might be enough for your team to close the gap and finish them off. That's what makes Uther such a great character, because he can stun people and interrupt those ultimate spells, and he can prevent people from getting away. And the only way you can do that, going back to what I initially said about him, is in the front lines, because the range on Hammer of Justice is incredibly tiny. So Uther is best played up towards the front. He's best played with those other heroes I mentioned before, the big tanky ones, like a Sanya or a Stitches, because you're going to be healing a lot, and you're going to be standing shoulder to shoulder, and you're going to be hitting baddies with them to build up your skills and build up your mana. And I'm going to talk about those now. Uther has a couple different paths, if you want to think about it, in terms of his talent and progression. By default, he has the Conjurer's Pursuit, which is a nice ability. That's his level 1 ability that would just give you health globes. Every 3 health globes will automatically increase your mana regeneration permanently. If you're not doing a lot of laning or don't plan on doing a lot of laning, this would not be a skill for you. The wizards inside every pack are the ones that drop the regeneration globes. Sometimes you'll get them off merc camps, that sort of thing. I don't prefer this ability because in endgame, mana is not an issue. He has an ability called Reach, where his Holy Light will actually increase in range. That's nice to have if you're going to primarily focus on that spell and that healing. He has the Dense Weight Stone, which could increase your Hammer of Justice increase by 40%. Or, my personal favorite, the Blessed Champion. The Blessed Champion heals all allies around you for 25% of the damage dealt, only with basic attacks. So if you're up in the front and you're smashing your hammer, because you're just auto-attacking, everything you do is giving everybody 25%, 25%, 25%. Is it a lot? No. But if you're up in the front and you're leading the charge and you're taking that paladin name to heart, you're going to be up in the front line, hitting with this ability, giving everybody just a little bit more health. And you and I know how many times has an enemy gotten away with just a sliver of health. This could be the difference in making sure that that's your teammate staying alive because you're hitting just a little more. So that is my level 1 tier skill. That's the one I prefer to use. When you hit level 4, that's when you start to break out a little bit more, whether you want to go more offense or more defense. He has the Hammer of the Lightbringer, which basic attacks restore mana, which is nice. Again, if you're up in front hitting, you could get more mana faster. The Fist of Justice, every basic attack reduces your Hammer of Justice by 1 second, which is really nice because it is such a long cooldown. Protect the Weak, which you can use on Holy Light, which when you use Holy Light, rather, it refunds 24% of its mana cost and cooldown. And the Protective Shield, which puts a bubble on people, which gives them a little bit of extra health. Or, yeah, basically, because the bubble has to get destroyed before they continue to take damage. I prefer to use either the Fist of Justice or the Hammer of the Lightbringer, because as I play, again, I like to be up in the front. I'm hitting baddies with my hammer. Boom, boom, boom. I'm dropping down my Hammer of Justice speed. Or I'm giving myself mana, which I could turn around and start pouring onto, the heals onto my other teammates. Level 7, you get Wave of Light, which is each unit is healed by your Holy Radiance, returns mana, and reduces your cooldown, and it does stack. Rebuke, which your Hammer of Justice knocks the target back. I would not recommend that. If you're playing as a group and you hit somebody with your hammer, the last thing you want to do is pull a Jimmy Raynor and push them 5 feet away. Especially if you stun them to, kill them. You don't want them to walk away because it's going to take you about a second to get there. That would be more useful if you were laning, I guess, and you wanted to push back minions, maybe? I'm not really sure. I guess you could always come around from the backside with Uther and try to stun your enemy into the pack, but my particular playstyle, I don't prefer that one. Holy Devotion, your damage and healing have 100% effectiveness in spirit form, so it reduces that cooldown. If you die a lot, this may be good for you, but I would prefer maybe some of the other skills in this tree. You have Clairvoyance, which is a cooldown, which will basically is a drone for 10 seconds, and it will reveal all the enemies in the area. Just a little tiny area. It's good for map presence and situational awareness, but I don't know. I've never really... I kind of have a sense for where enemies are just by scouting them. And lastly, you have Cleanse, which, when activated, will remove all your stuns, roots, silences, and slowdowns on a target. So, and prevent them from happening again. So, if your teammate's getting stunned or rooted a lot, you could use this as a buff to heal them and knock them out of it. The anti-Uther drug, as it were. I prefer on this one Wave of Light because it returns mana and reduces your cooldown of future Wave of Lights. Although if you die a lot, Holy Devotion and getting that extra 50% bonus to your healing and damage after you've died might be useful. Level 10 is when you get your cool abilities. Do you want to be a Divine Storm or the Divine Shield? And it's exactly what they sound like. Storm puts this huge area circle around you, stuns all enemies for 1.5 seconds, and damages them. Divine Shield makes a hero invulnerable for 3 whole seconds. And trust me when I tell you, that is a lot of time. If a guy's about to get burned down, that's enough time for you to heal him. That's enough time for you to put the Divine Shield on, and then heal him with both your healing spells, and get him right back into battle at a pretty good percentage of his initial health. I personally like Divine Storm. Again, playing as the quote-unquote offensive Uther style. I want to be in the front, and when I hit that, I want to hit a ton of dudes. I want to hit all their heroes. I want to push the lane and just blast everything and stun everything. That's really good to me. Level 13, you could select from Burning Rage, which is the buff that constantly hits enemies around you. A spell shield that upon taking damage, all your abilities are reduced by that damage for a short amount of time. And that'll trigger every 30 seconds. So if like somebody hits you with a huge ability, the next ability they hit you with is only going to be half as effective. And that only triggers once every 30 seconds. You can get Sprint if you want to run around faster for a short amount of time. Or Shrink Ray, which is actually pretty useful. That will physically shrink enemy heroes, and it will also reduce their damage and movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. So that's another really good ability too. I prefer Burning Rage because I'm always in the fray, and I always just constantly hitting things around me. But I could see Shrink Ray being very viable. It does have a 60-second cooldown, so keep that in mind if you're prone to get into those huge team fights. At level 16, you can select Hardened Focus, which when you're above 80% of your life, all your cooldowns regenerate 50% faster. Again, that doesn't work so much for me because as I'm in the front, I'm getting hit a lot, so my health is never really at 80%. You can get Gathering Radiance, which increases your damage and your healing by 10% for each target hit, up to 50%. That is a great spell because I like to focus on that ability, the Holy Radiance ability. So when I shoot that beam out, everybody I hit, ding, 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 they're getting more health, and it's just, it's building up. And if you position yourself in the back, just for briefly to hit that ability and target through all your allies, you're going to heal so much more than you would have before. Holy Shock can be used to on an enemy to do 50% of your healing amount as damage. So if you want to kind of mix up your healing ability and cast it on the enemy, you'll do some damage that way. I wouldn't really recommend it because the cooldown's so long, but it's your choice. And then Imposing Presence. All enemies that attack you have their attack speed slowed by 30%. This is a really good ability, especially if you're up towards the front, because they will target you first. They'll say, oh, Uther, we got to take this healer out first. Bam, they hit you. Now they're going slow. And their attack speed reduced by 30% is a lot, and it's easy to get overtaken. So I think that's a really great ability too. Finally, wrapping it up, the level 20 abilities. You can have the Bulwark of Light, which gives you an extra second of your shield on an ally, but also puts the shield on you. The Hurricane, which increases the radius of your Divine Storm by 100%, and its cooldown is reduced. Or the Storm Shield, which you activate automatically to give all your heroes around you a shield for 20% of their max health for 3 seconds. That's great on those big endgame pushes, which obviously makes sense because it's an endgame spell. So those are just an overview of every single talent he has. For me, I like to be up front, so I'm looking at more of the hammer abilities. I'm looking at the persistent damage, I'm looking at the Radiance ability that's going to increase the healing I do per allies. And that's kind of the build that I play as. Now you'll see as I'm going through the gameplay, let me tab back and see where I'm at, because I didn't have that memorized, believe it or not. It looks like I'm dead. Looks like I just came back. Great point to come back in. You could see as I try to always stick around with other teammates. You'll see me using my abilities there to just blast through waves of enemies. Again, Uther does not work well alone. He works well with others, leading the charge, in my opinion, kind of being on the front line. And I think that's where you're going to find the most success with him. If you are a true healer's healer and you like being in the back line and just spamming heals, Uther's not the guy for you. I would recommend Malfurion or potentially a Lily. But Uther is good because he's got that little bit of offense that comes in handy. He can stun people just a little bit when he needs to, and he's got that last-second defense. Now, you can see here, I died. I still have a little bit of time to kind of stun people down. Unfortunately, no one's nearby to capitalize on it. I'm just going to end up running around like an idiot and dying. That happens a lot, by the way. But, again, if I took my own advice and had stayed in the pack, that extra stun could have actually been the difference in building up a good offensive push or, you know, tipping the tide. And you'll notice in this game, too, that when you have those big group battles, as soon as somebody falls, it's a domino effect. It really is. And you will see a lot of times where a team will be pushing really hard and you drop just one guy and they all just start dropping like flies because their output is just constantly cut down, So that's my gameplay with Uther. I'm going to shut up and let you guys watch the rest of the video. I just wanted to give everybody a high-level overview. I'll be putting a link in the description box to the website that has all the skills already listed that I read from. And I'll also be putting what I recommend. Of course, everybody to each their own. Everyone plays every character differently. I've had a lot of success in both arena and in just casual team play when I use Uther in this style. Again, keep in mind that you don't get too brave with the guy. He wears a lot of armor, but it's mostly for show. But he's got a little bit of oomph to him. So when you're playing through that, keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. Please do me a favor, comment, rate, subscribe to these videos. I'm going to begin doing one for every single hero. And then I'm going to go back and as arena play, as our clan, the DBDG clan, gets a little bit bigger. That's a pun once you know what the guild stands for. Once we get a little bit bigger and a little more established, I'll be posting more gameplay videos. A group of us play pretty much every night, and we're honing our craft, and we're working our way up slowly up the arena system. So stay tuned for some more videos on that. This is by far my absolute favorite computer game right now. I've retired from League of Legends solely to play this game, so whether I'm recording a video or just reading the news about it, I always have heroes on the brain. Again, thanks for watching. I will shut up, and I will see you guys on the other side.
Enemies of the light, beware.
We ought to capture this mercenary.
Shrines awaken once more. Who will control the Dragon Knights?
This hero must fall. Strike with great vengeance.
Free the Dragon Knight and slaughter your enemies. Choose a talent. Rise again and take your revenge.
Never doubt it for a second. need to take this enemy down.
The flame cleanses all.
Great.
Your enemy has destroyed a fort.
Very wise.
Someone take this hero down!
Free the dragon. Unleash its power.
Right.
That could have gone better.
Someone take this hero
Power
down!
gathers within the shrines. Unleash the dragon's wrath.
Why not? I am the hammer of justice. We should capture this mercenary camp.
The dragon shall rest no longer. Unleash its power. Your deeds shall be known.
Fine storm! Is with us.
You are more fearless than I thought. The fire comes for you.
Justice has come. Honor done. A sound decision. Strike with great vengeance.
We should capture this mercenary camp.
Very wise. For Morgara.
I'm ready.
We are blessed by the For the light.
take this hero down.
Well done.
This is the strike with great vengeance.
Assist our ally.
Soon the shrines shall awaken, heroes.
Very wise.
Much obliged.
Activate the shrines. Take the Dragon Knight's power.
Agreed. Strike with great vengeance.
Enemy shall fall.
Honor guides me. I like it. The light conquers all. A sound decision. For the light. Strike with great vengeance. By my honor. Agreed.
Killing blow.
The light conquers all.
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadruple kill. Enemy team dominated.
I say we take this
For the
mercenary.
silver hand.
Killing spree.
We should capture this mercenary camp.
Why not?
Power gathers within the shrines. Unleash the dragon's wrath.
Let us capture this mercenary camp.
Much obliged.
We are blessed by the light. The light is with us. Right.
Free the Dragon Knight and slaughter your enemies.
I like it.
Your killing spree has ended.
I like it.
As it should be.
Keep destroyed.
This hero is getting on my nerves.
Right? Let's try that again. Very wise. Justice has been delivered.
Thanks for the pick-me-up.
Take this hero down.
Light mercy. Honor guides me. We are blessed.
As it should be.
Enemies of the light, beware. A sound decision.
Enemies burn!
Destroy the enemy's core!
By my honor.